Okay, the final stage of putting our block together, we're going to look at the key and place our pattern pieces, our templates, in the correct place. The A, B, C, D, E, and F. And we're going to go backwards on putting them together. So we're going to pick up the F and the E and put those two together. It's going to go like this, so you're folding it over and sewing them together. With this pattern, you don't want, I'll show you what you don't want and then I'll show you what you do. If the edges are together, then when it's sewn, it's going to be rather wonky. So you're going to put it aside about 1/4 of an inch on both sides. So 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch. This is what you want so that when you press it open, you're going to get an even edge. I don't pin mine together, but it's probably a good idea to pin the first few. I've had 16 years of practice sewing, so I'm pretty good at being able to pinch it with my fingers. If you're new at sewing, it might be a good idea to use a few pins to put it into place before you start sewing. I have moved the size of the stitches a little bit higher because I'm not going to be ripping any paper off, so I don't feel the need to sew with such a small stitch. So when it's opened up, we're going to press it, and that's going to be our first seam. The next one we put on is D. D is going to go on there. And this one, as well as the other one, you have a little gape at the front and the back. And if you notice my first seam, it's a little wonky. My favorite saying in quilting is, "Oh well, no one will notice." Once you get the quilt pattern together, the quilt block solidly together, a little bit of fudging, a little bit of corners being cut off, it's no big deal. The finished product is going to be so wonderful that you're going to forget all the little mistakes that you make throughout the quilt. Thread there. This one was sewn on a little bit better. I don't quite have the thick of the seam as thick on that side. I'm going to run over there real quick to press that open before I sew any of the other pieces on. When you're pressing them, you want to press them out, and you're not going to want to drag the iron. You just want to press it up and down so that you get a nice crease in there. If you smush the iron back and forth, you're going to elongate the threads and it's going to stretch your pattern out. So you just want to press up and down on the fabric with the iron. And it also, if you have a square that's a little short, that's another tip that you can do, is you can pull on it a little bit and wiggle the iron and it will stretch it just a little bit. And then let's sew something else on it. The next step of putting it together is attaching F, E, D to part C. Take these, folding it over. And if you notice with this one, when you put it together, the blue is going to be touching the purple. When you open up the seam, it's going to come together and be straight. But you want to make sure that the blue is above the purple so that when you're sewing it together and pressing it open, it'll show the correct edge. And again, all of these seam allowances are 1/4 of an inch. There we go. And I'm going to bring it over to the iron and press it. The next part is adding the body of Alaska onto the Aleutian Islands, the Aleutian chain. I'm going to bring it around, match up the corners. And remember, 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. So that so far. I'm gonna take a quick press and then I'll be right back. Our final seam for this quilt block is to attach the final template on. So this is the panhandle. We're going to fold it over and create our quick seam. And this is our finished product. I'm going to bring it over there and press it again, but there is our first finished completed square.